Recording. I am very happy to be here with Lakshmi Reddy, and she is a beautiful visionary and has started a very heart-centered nonprofit that has similar goals as what we want to do here at the Community House Network, which is to help people live their best lives and figure out who they are and what they're meant to be doing in the world. So, of course, I'm paraphrasing and kind of putting it in my own terms, but I do feel like we are a kindred spirits here working to help people live their best lives. So, anyway, I invited you here, Lakshmi, and thank you so much for agreeing to be here with me today to talk about your project and some of the challenges and inspirations that got you to where you are today. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about New Creation International?
Thank you, Abigail. Appreciate you inviting me. And New Creation International, the idea um, came in 2011, but started working in 2012. But I have no idea. I didn't have any idea about what a nonprofit entails, what the paperwork. But somehow, asking around with friends and family, I was guided and connected with a nonprofit resource manager in a public library, and he educated me for a whole year about the application and the process. But our vision is, we envision a conscious world of self-discovery and mindfulness. I know it's a big goal, but how do we practice starting with small steps and starting with ourselves? And I was fortunate and blessed to have good um, friends, supporters, who are board members, sharing their time and talent. And yeah, that's how this came together.
And you shared with me a little bit about what inspired you, what drove you to really want to do this. Would you be willing to share that again about some of your experiences with watching your father's organization develop and also all the good work he did, and then coming to the States also?
Yes, yeah. So I grew up with parents, you know, who had a long vision. And in fact, my father was here in the States, 50s and early 60s. He did his master's in Minnesota and PhD in soil science in Hawaii. And that's where he met his spiritual teacher, Sri Aurobindo. He didn't meet, he connected through his works. And so in 1968, they went back to India in 1964, but 19 around 68, 69, and they're from a small rural village in South India. And this idea of integrated development of an individual in the community, and that's how he started, and that's what inspired me. And just he always shared his stories and his experiences. And I came to the United States in 1990, and I was going to school and working in Montessori and the daycares, and I was always passionate about education. And as my children got older, I've been volunteering in different set of schools, and just seeing the strengths and also how could we add more value to further their own growth consciously. And I felt, what can we do? And that's how this organization evolved. And also my father started school when I was visiting them in a small existing building. And when I saw those, cute little kids, it just, I felt, how can I help them? But also, how can we bring the element of adding the spirit to our community here? And that's how this, I started talking to friends and family, and that's how this has evolved. And that journey began with, myself, looking and trying to practice, because we have to be in that state even before we can share. But we can grow together.
I think that's so true that very often we have this desire, but sometimes there's something we have to work out within ourselves before we can share that gift. And I I think we talked a little bit about how when we see something that's not quite right, for example, this lack of connection in the schools to seeing children in their truth of who they are rather than as little test scores, it can be that push for us to try to bring something better. And you having seen your father's school, I think that obviously showed you what was possible. So tell me more about some of the things that you're doing in the organization.
Um, so one is we support the school in India, not only financially, but also designing curriculum, volunteers and, my sister have been helping design a curriculum for them. And locally, bringing awareness to the body, intro sessions and some workshops for teachers and parents or for anybody, because unless we become aware of our own selves and you know cultivate or enhance our own attention and concentration, it's kind of hard for us to look into helping to help the kids. So that has been the greatest part, not only myself but the board, growing together, supporting each other, because the change start begins with us. And then being in that state of being a role model for our children and for our workplace, wherever we go. But also growing together and learning from the kids, being childlike, curious, and being open to learn. We think we are, teaching children, but they are teaching us, because, the curiosity and the love and different talents and uniqueness that they bring to our lives.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. Uh, when you look at, so it's been about 6 years then that you've been engaged in this project, or a little more even?
Yeah, 6 years. And but again, I think it has been a challenge. We are all 100% volunteer run, and I myself am not multi-talented to manage everything. But so we like to go slow and steady, because unless we bring look into ourselves, but then at the same time, how can we bring that um, outside of ourselves, bring that practice into our own work and whatever work that may be, personally, professionally. And one of the tools is awareness to the body, um, which helps us to enhance our attention, concentration, and relaxation. And
And I am a big fan of awareness of the body as a practice. I think it's a beautiful gift. So I think that's how we connected through the awareness in the body work that Margot was sharing and offering. Um, and I just wanted to ask you about what have been some of the biggest challenges for you in this in developing the bringing the vision to life, really.
um, I think how to articulate it, and also seeing the needs in the community. And since we are all 100% volunteer run, but that has been a beneficial too, because just taking time to have an open discussion and what it means to us before even we think about what it means to others. um, it, it has been really good, but also challenging. And if you have a time frame, I mean, it's good to set some deadlines, but not be in a hurry to do something, because then we lose the essence. And other thing we try to focus is with my own little research or observation, not to focus so much on fundraising, because then we lose the purpose. So having a good foot and foundation on the purpose, ingraining it deeply within us, um, and uh, and that has been the best part, because unless we have a good foundation, it will not sustain. Because if we focus so much on the fundraising, once we have the funds, then we don't know, you know, where to. how to, use them, or focus on the mission and the vision and the practical aspects of bringing it to life. So I would say finding, either board members or volunteers with multi talents, and that has been a blessing for us with multi talents. So to come together, because initially when we first started, one of my friend was an attorney, one of my friend was in marketing, and one was a professor, one was in business, and so even now today we have a graphic designer, one of our board members. She did our website, and also it gives a joy bringing our own talent to life and bringing it together to make it better for ourselves and for others.
I love this idea of like allowing each person who comes to join the community that you're working together, and each person is kind of sharing their unique gifts. And I can say one of your gifts for sure is bringing people together. So that's something I'm working my best on to develop, or maybe I just need to find my own Lakshmi over here in Peoria.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, if you have the intention, and that's what I think has been connecting me to people, is not giving up the intention and aspirations, because there will be a lot of disappointments, but at the same time looking within ourselves, and every step, what is that step back teaching us, what is that setback teaching us. And initially, also, and even now, sometimes people don't respond, or it doesn't happen on time. But again, it's teaching us to be patient, but at the same time, being grounded in our mission and vision, and having that faith in the work. And I think that is the key, in the business world, or nonprofit world. That's something I'm learning. And I have observed my father also.
I think that's beautifully stated, and such an important piece to keep that connection to the vision and mission. And I have seen in some experiences where people get caught up in those things that aren't really part of the vision and get trapped by worry over what really just needs to be sidestepped or maybe let go of. And do you feel like in your own experience there have been certain avenues that you've taken and you've had to kind of shift, or because I know that I've had conversations with other people about this idea of like stepping out and then needing to pivot, and I'm just wondering if you've had any of those experiences yourself.
Um, Not really. I mean, those were all small, incidents. But again, more and more as we grow, I've been thinking, and initially our ego gets hurt. But again, if we step back and, analyze and think, what is a learning moment? And then there's a joy. Because again, our mind and our, emotion and keeps, and especially our ego, keeps directing you to the place where you don't want to be. So with that, creating your own awareness and then shifting and stepping back, that has been a challenge. But as we grow, it has been a joy. Because, and that is the key of all the work, and that's what we are trying to demonstrate, to the kids, or our, community, and first to ourselves. We are in so much data driven now, and lately I feel like, analyzing our own data, analyzing our own, thoughts and emotions and the reactions. And when we, even within the family, or any work, personal or professional, we are judging with our own external mind. But if we step back, if we kind of look at the depth, there's so much more to it. There's so much learning or joy, or there's an opposite of what we think. So it's hard, but once you start doing that, it brings so much pure joy, and it gives us more energy to do more.
I think the thing that's so fascinating speaking with you is because you're working so much in your intention on self-awareness, that like in your process of creating this, you're also using it as this tool of reflective self awareness. And it's just incredible to listen to because isn't it true? Like everything in our lives are here to help us become more of what we're meant to be. And when we step onto a path of being of service, like creating a nonprofit as you are, we just get accelerated in that. Everything we need to get working on is like showing up right away to here you go. You really sure you want to do this? So it's really fun speaking with you and listening to you share about how each moment is this opportunity for more growth and more awareness and kind of walking the walk is what you're sharing here.
And also, I feel like, again, not putting the pressure, oh, I have to become aware or I have to do this, but just being, stepping back and just being. And it's okay to sometimes be upset, but don't indulge or don't sit in that space for too long. And I've been blessed by friends and family, volunteers, and board members, and especially I know by law we are allowed, we are required to meet, once in 1 quarter according to our bylaws or whatever we set up. But we try to meet once a month because it's almost like a support group. We share our challenges, but also what can we do, again, the work, how to enhance, because unless you know um, we become that, it's kind of, we can't pretend for too long. Becoming that, being that instead of pretending.
That's fascinating. And um, if you were to meet someone who like had some kind of desire or passion to do something like starting a nonprofit, um, what kind of advice or guidance would you give them?
um, I would give them, to organize, and just make their thoughts and aspirations, write down, and before even we talk to others, I would talk to our, ourselves inside and concentrate and contemplate through different avenues, being in the nature, or if, a person is artist like you, just putting it in art form. And um, I think I would advise that because, it brings more clarity. Because when we are more clear, then when we seek for help, and I think that's what I see in you, having that clarity, um, would really help us to articulate it, to share it with others.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time to talk about your project. Is there anything else you want to share about what's going on or upcoming events or
Yes, so right now with the COVID, we have, sharing free awareness practice sessions, awareness to the body, first and last Sunday of the month at 4 p.m. Central Time, and third Monday at 7:30. Again, it's creating a group of, like-minded people, learning and sharing and supporting, encouraging each other. Yeah, but and that one thing though, not listening to the disappointments or setbacks, staying grounded. I know I said this earlier, but I think that is the key to move forward, whether it's a nonprofit or professional work or whatever that may be. I think that is the key that I'm finding. And in
thank
this
you.
world, not being scattered,
I agree. It's easy to listen to the negative voices outside ourselves and within, and it's so important that we have enough perspective and belief and connection to what we want to see that we don't let that throw us out
yes,
of alignment. Basically, I think
yes.
that's one of the words that you used earlier. Um, anyway, thank you so much, Lakshmi. I'm going to share your information so that people can connect to those ATB sessions. They're very wonderful. And it's such a gift that you're bringing here. So
Thank you. Yeah, I invite everybody in this field to, learn and share together, grow together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Abigail.